All right, easy school chapel prep. It's one thing to talk about something being easy, and it's another thing for it to truly be easy. Uh, that said, Sparkhouse Digital, if you're at all aware of what Sparkhouse Digital is, has all kinds of resources. There's a number of full curricula sets in Sparkhouse Digital, including Swirls, Holy Moly, Spark. Um, we talk about Connect for the tweens, Reform for confirmation age, and Collaborate for confirmation age, TBD for beyond confirmation, Echo, and for the earliest, the smallest among us, the wee ones, we have something called Frolic. It is a rich and reliable resource. There's When I put up these numbers, it's almost hard for me to believe, but we have 388 discrete lessons for early childhood situations. We've got 832 discrete lessons for children's situations in Sparkhouse Digital, elementary and tween situations. And we have another 382 discrete lessons under the youth module of Sparkhouse Digital. I'm putting up a QR code right now. If you've got your phones handy, maybe you're actually taking this webinar on your phone, which makes it tricky. But if you are not, and you have your phone ready, you might want to scan that, because that'll take you to the Sparkhouse Digital landing page, and you'll get a chance to maybe click around and see some of the content that I'll be talking about as we move forward. But one of the other things that I want to say and encourage you to think about doing is that there's a 30-day free trial of Sparkhouse Digital. And especially after you attend a webinar or something like this, it's a good idea to maybe grab that free trial and click around to find some of the things that I'm demonstrating here in the webinar. Something to think about. Okay, what's included in Sparkhouse Digital? As I said, lots of sets of curricula for lots of age groups. And typically what you find with each lesson in Sparkhouse Digital, you'll find a leader support that you can download from Sparkhouse Digital. You'll find media that you can download from Sparkhouse Digital, including animated videos. You've got actually a surprising amount of animated video. There's 560 animated videos in Sparkhouse Digital, covering just about every Bible story you can think of. There's music in Sparkhouse Digital, not just the scores, however. You can also find lyric slides and the MP3s of instrumental and sung support music. There's reproducibles in Sparkhouse Digitals, like coloring pages. We've got children's bulletins in Sparkhouse Digital, and we've got take-home sheets in Sparkhouse Digital. So all of that is available literally at your fingertips. And the pain points that we often experience when we're dealing with something like finding content for faith formation, especially if we're going online to do that, is that we can scroll forever and look for the kinds of things that we think are suitable. And sometimes it's a matter of kind of mixing and matching things as best we can. And the trouble is in the process, a lot of that content is pretty low quality. Maybe it's not the highest resolution, and maybe it's got some watermarks or what have you, because frankly, some of that material that we pull offline is really copyright protected, and maybe we shouldn't be using it anyway. But you know, the real question, and for us in schools in the ELCA is, you know, what's the theology? What's the theology of the content that I'm using in my classroom? And one of the nice things about being able to tap into something like Sparkhouse Digital is you know for certain, because it's coming from Augsburg Fortress Publishers, that all of that has already been vetted, and that you can count on that as being one filter you don't have to apply as you think about how to adapt materials for the classroom setting. And so again, I think a real important thing to think about. And I talked about inaccessibility, and Corey had some interesting things to say about accessibility that we're going to have a little conversation about. Maybe this will pop into the chat, some of the things that were on our mind. But you know, sometimes it's not easy to get to the resources you want. And with something that's online like Sparkhouse Digital, you have it 24/7, 365. It's available whenever and wherever you want, and it's available for your teachers or even your parents. It's amazing, especially since COVID, how many different ways people are using Sparkhouse Digital as almost like a learning management system and a parent access portal, and not just a library of content. And so scratch that pain point right off the list as far as accessibility is concerned. Because Sparkhouse Digital is an efficient and reliable way to secure high-value multimedia content, and lots of it. Last count, there's over 15,000 individual faith formation items in Sparkhouse Digital, and we're adding new content every quarter. And so it's continually being refreshed. That said, for chapel purposes, we are really only going to be looking at 3 specific areas: Spark Lectionary, World Lectionary, and the bonus content in Sparkhouse Digital. And I don't know if you found that paperclip. There's a paperclip. There's a download feature, and in that download feature, you'll find what is, in essence, the outline for this webinar. It's a kind of a quick prep guide, trying to give you some quick ways to get to the content that I'm going to be talking about. Because if you're not familiar with Sparkhouse Digital, you know, it's not, because it's so vast, it's not always the easiest thing to find the things that you might really need for chapel in particular. And so that's why I put this little guide together to prep for chapel, a guide, and it'll talk about you know, the paths that we need to get to things like children's messages or chapel activities or music or video or take-home pages. So make sure you download that little guide to help us go forward here, because when we go live onto the site, those are the exact places I'm going to be going. So things to look for in Sparkhouse Digital: yes, chapel leader content like messages and activities for kids of all ages. There's music, as I've mentioned, scores, MP3s, lyric, PowerPoint slides. There's animated videos. There's seasonal resources. There's lots of seasonal resources in Sparkhouse Digital for the whole church year cycle. And there's also faith at home resources in Sparkhouse Digital that you can send home with the kids, or if you so choose, invite the parents to access directly from Sparkhouse Digital by way of the Sparkhouse Digital calendar, if you choose to give them access, which you certainly may. All right, yep, again, one more, don't forget to download the Quick Start Guide to get you right to things like the children's message for Lent 1 Year A, and all the different parts of that children's message as you read the story and wonder about the story and see the story and live the story. And then on the back side, you can find some music and some prayers that go along with that particular children's lesson. So yes, please get the guide, because we're going to be clicking around here in just a minute. We're going to be going live on Sparkhouse Digital. So hopefully you'll be seeing that shortly. All right. So I'm hoping you're all seeing the screen change and the Sparkhouse Digital product page here on your screens, where it gives you a rundown of what's available in Sparkhouse Digital, what's available in the different grade levels, age levels, a little bit about the planning tools and some FAQs, and then the pricing of Sparkhouse Digital is at the bottom of the page, and it's a sliding scale pricing. If you're kind of wondering about, I've got a small setting or a large setting or what have you, so that we do try to accommodate to that sliding scale. All right, I'm going to sign in now, and I'm going to actually follow the Prep for Chapel guide that I printed for you. Okay, so we're going to go right now and try to find some content that will be immediately useful for chapel. And when I think of chapel services, I especially want to think about our two lectionary curricula, Whirl Lectionary and Spark Lectionary. So whether you go into Whirl, which is a video-based curriculum, or go into Spark, which is a multiple intelligence-based curricula, it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same path. So let's just go into Spark. I'm going to click, and then we call these tiles, by the way. I'm going to click onto the Spark tile, the Explore button, and then I'm going to click on a year and season. So I'm going to go into year A, spring, and then I'm going to find a variety of lessons here as I go into year A, spring. So we're going to just pick a lesson. We're going to call, we're just going to go into lesson 1. And then we see the various age levels, right? If you go into these various age levels, you will find all kinds of resources related to that age level. And one of the things I want to especially point out is I want to point out the PowerPoint images of the Spark Story Bible. That's one of the great additions if you have if you have a subscription to Sparkhouse Digital. Here, I guess I'll download it and show it to you this way. Is that we have all of these spreads from the Spark Story Bible available for you to use in Sparkhouse Digital and to add all your content to in a PowerPoint form, which is pretty cool if you ever want to use something like that for chapel. All right, I'm gonna and as long as we're in this lesson, I'm gonna actually in this area, I'm gonna skip down to the green area where it says take home pages. If you go to the green where it says take home pages, this is something too that you might want to use in your local setting. You might want to grab some content that you want to have the families talk about when they get home about particular lessons that you use. And these are intended to be for younger kids, for older kids, for families to do together. So like, again, as you follow those paths in, you can find a variety of content such as this that could be used not necessarily during chapel, but certainly after chapel is completed and as families talk about the content that they've learned. One of the great places to look for content as far as chapel worthy content would be in the large group openings. You know, the large group openings will often provide, and this is just the preview, of songs that you can use, things that you can talk about as far as the story of Adam and Eve in this case, questions and a closing prayer. You know, those large group openings may set up a larger, a wider lesson that is used in the classroom, but they're still, I think, very suitable for use in the chapel setting. I'm going to come out of Spark here and scroll down a little bit as long as I'm under here, and I'm going to talk about some other things. So if you look at the blue area of your prep guide, you'll see something called worship bulletins. So worship bulletins is one of the other things that could be useful in the chapel setting or to talk about what happened in chapel. Each of our days of the Revised Common Lectionary do have a worship bulletin in both Spark and in Whirl. They have their own branded bulletins, so they're unique from one another. And if you peek into them, let's go down to Palm Sunday. If you peek into them, you'll find that there's a reader version and a pre-reader version. of each of these bulletins. And so that's one of the, as you can see here, reader and pre-reader, pre-reader, reader, pre-reader, reader. And so we really want to accommodate all age levels with these worship bulletins as well. So those are just a couple of things in Spark Lectionary. I'm going to go back up to the top again and look at curricula material that could be available to you in World Lectionary. So again, as you scroll down and find Year A Spring and go into Adam and Eve, as we're following the Revised Common Lectionary, the lessons are similar, of course. In this case, I'll go to grades 3-4. And here you actually have something that's labeled children's message. And this is where you can find that example of read the story, wonder about the story, see the story, live the story, and then the music and the prayer, music suggestions, prayer suggestions that could all be used in chapel. Now, these are curriculum connected chapel options, but you know, there is another place where you can find Revised Common Lectionary chapel worthy material in Sparkhouse Digital. And if you're at the top again into something called bonus messages in that gold area, we just talked about where you can find some curricular messages, but the bonus messages, that's in the children's bonus content. This is content that is standalone from all the curricular sets in Sparkhouse Digital. And when you explore there, you'll find all kinds of things. You'll find holiday and event material, intergenerational material, games, family activities. But I really want to focus on the children's church activities and the children's messages. All right. So if I go into children's messages here, explore, gets you in a little bit further, you'll find that a brand new set of children's messages has been uploaded to Sparkhouse Digital. And if you scroll down, we'll do Palm Sunday again, and preview, you'll find, what do I need to do to prepare for this lesson? How do I invite kids into the lesson? What am I going to say in this lesson? And is there a prayer? Yes, there's a prayer to conclude this lesson. We are on our way to having a full set for the 3-year cycle of readings for children's messages in Sparkhouse Digital. We're not there yet, but we're on our way as we're adding new content every quarter. As I go back to the children's bonus content and scroll past all this good stuff and go to children's church activities, here you'll find a more robust kind of experience that your kids can enjoy if it makes sense for you in a chapel experience. I'm going to hit the preview button here, which will allow us to see something that's a little bit more activity-based. It's designed to be a children's church event, and it's something that could take the place of the kids sitting in the pews during the sermon. So 20, 30 minutes or so is what this content covers. You've got supplies, you've got sing a song, you've got open the Bible, practice a memory verse, options for hands-on activities, and a closing prayer. And so a little bit more robust than a children's message, more activity-based than a children's message, and something that can take up a little bit more time if you have the time to do such a thing. But again, there's a full set of these for every Sunday of the Revised Common Lectionary in Sparkhouse Digital under the children's bonus content. So that's the bonus messages. We looked at the curricular messages, we looked at the bonus messages, and we look now at the chapel activities, which is what I call the children's church activities. You could certainly consider them to be chapel activities. We've looked at the other blue area. If you're looking at your guide, we dug into some worship bulletins, and there's worship bulletins related to both Spark and Whirl. So 2 complete sets of worship bulletins for every Sunday of the 3-year cycle. But of course, you could use those during the week if you so chose. And next, I'm going to be moving into the yellow areas of your prep for chapel using SHD. I want to talk a little bit about the media in Sparkhouse Digital. So you might be thinking, we have the ability to, project content in our worship space or chapel space. Is there video in Sparkhouse Digital? As you heard earlier, there's lots of video in Sparkhouse Digital. So if I go again under Year A, Spring and Whirl, and I go under Adam and Eve again, and I go to grades 1, 2 or pre-KK, I'll go pre-KK. There is a lesson video. In Whirl, there's actually 2 videos for every lesson. There's an upper grade video and there's a lower grade video. And the kids that are in these Whirl videos are appropriate to those ages. So you can, if you have decent bandwidth, you could stream the video right out of Sparkhouse Digital, which is certainly an option. I don't know if you can hear the music. I don't know if I'm set up for you to be able to hear this, but you can certainly do that if you have the option to do that. But the other thing that you can do is you can download the videos. I haven't really talked too much about this PDC, but I have been using some of it, which is preview, download, or calendar. So the add to calendar function is a very powerful tool in Sparkhouse Digital. If perchance you say, we would like to show this lesson video and we want to show it on a particular day, so let's add this video to the calendar. I click the calendar icon. I pick, let's say chapel on Wednesday the 25th, and I add to calendar. Now, when I go to the Sparkhouse Digital calendar and I look for March 25th, I can see that we have the video ready to go on Wednesday, March 25th. Now, there's 2 kinds of roles in Sparkhouse Digital. There's directors and there's leaders. Directors, they can plan things. They can add things to the calendar. They can plan a whole year's worth of content if they wanted, and not just add a video, but anything they feel is appropriate for that Wednesday the 25th, because there's a little calendar function by every item in Sparkhouse Digital. So you can really work ahead of time to put the things in on whatever days that you want them to be, whether it be videos or whether it be music or what have you. But as long as we're here in the calendar, I want to show you another function. As I go all the way to the right and click this edit button, you'll see that I can assign leaders to particular items on particular days. This is our entire company, so don't overlay to who all our leaders are, but you can add leaders, and you can add as many as you want. And so if you say, well, so-and-so is doing chapel on this day, and the chapel is going to be featuring a video about Adam and Eve and some other content I may have added to that day, then that person can go on that day and see that they've been connected to that event. So I think that's a pretty cool feature. And it's a very easy thing to add leaders to Sparkhouse Digital. You go to my account, you go to leaders, You add a new leader, and you just first name, last name, email, password. Now it doesn't alert them, so they won't get an email that says they've been added, which is why you may want to use a generic password so that it's easy for them to get in at first. But then you can assign them different age groups or different roles. But I do want to pay attention to this role that you provide, because again, directors have plenty of ability. They can add things and take things off the calendar. Leaders can just go in, access the calendar, download things from the calendar, but they can't really mess with the plans. And during COVID, I will say that a number of congregations that were using Sparkhouse Digital added parents as leaders, even though they weren't particularly teachers or assistants, but they were still added as leaders. So parents could get content that was added by the directors that they could access at home. They could watch that video at home, or they could listen to some music at home. They could go to the calendar and say, "Oh, I guess in chapel they talked about this, this, and this, and I'm going to go get my my take-home guide, or listen to some of the music that the kids listen to in chapel." Again, you can use Sparkhouse Digital like a learning management system in that regard. And if you want to check on your leaders, there's a kind of a fun thing here called downloads, where you can see if your leaders have been downloading the things that they needed to download. So for example, I've already downloaded a couple things in the course of this webinar. So there's a way to keep tabs on all of that as well. All right, I'm still in the yellow area. We looked at some video, but I want to look at something else that's in Sparkhouse Digital. I'm going to go into the Spark lectionary in this case, and I'm going to scroll down. Both Spark lectionary, World Lectionary, Frolic, they have a music tab. And in this music tab, you'll find a variety of resources. You'll find songs like books of the New Testament. For the books of the New Testament, you'll find an instrumental audio MP3 that you can download, a version that has kids singing on it that you can download. You can find lead sheets, lyric sheets. This is one with the guitar chords on it. You can find the full score of this particular song if you've got some folks that are good on a keyboard. So that's all related to one song, namely the books of the Bible. And you've got the PowerPoint lyrics too that are available to you. So for example, I'll drag this over. So you've got the lyrics that you can put on a PowerPoint slide for the books of the New Testament. Okay, so that's the music. So we've gone through the content in the curricula that could be used for messages. We've looked at some of the bonus messages under the children's bonus content. We've looked at the chapel activities, some worship bulletins. We looked at the videos. We've looked at the music. We did look at the take-home pages, where you can find some take-home pages for the kids to take home, and there's all kinds of things in Sparkhouse Digital. Here's another set of children's messages for Black History Month. So a lot of times you'll find some interesting things just by clicking around. Here's a whole set of things that we did during COVID for faith formation at home, which are really kind of robust sets of activities for home use. So really, I've tried to keep it simple with this prep for chapel guide, just taking you to things like where you can find messages and activities and bulletins and multimedia content, and a little bit about planning. But that's really all I wanted to focus on. We can go on and on and on, but we're talking about easy prep for chapel. All right, so what are our takeaways here? Our takeaways are: one, I would recommend when you're looking for chapel resources in Sparkhouse Digital that you focus on the lectionary resources. And don't forget to scroll down, especially when you see a lot of variety available to you, and some of the stuff that might be especially useful for chapel, like music and bulletins and bonus lessons and what have you, are often at the bottom of the tiles that would be for the regular Sundays of the church year. So don't forget to scroll down or click around, as the case may be, in Sparkhouse Digital. Especially, it's important to keep in mind that the bonus content in Sparkhouse Digital is bountiful, and it's actually the area in Sparkhouse Digital that gets the most refreshment. As things get added to Sparkhouse Digital, that's a place that really receives the newest content that we've been creating for Sparkhouse Digital. And, you know, finally, just be creative and have fun with it. Sparkhouse Digital, again, is super useful and has a ton of content, and you'll probably find ways to use it that I couldn't even imagine. So, all right, yeah, you can pull that out of your books, or you can pull it out of your laptop if you have a subscription to Sparkhouse Digital. And we do want to conclude here by saying that there are member benefits. Our first year here with as a partner, we really want to focus on the early childhood centers. So there's a 50% discount for the first year of Sparkhouse Digital if you choose to get that early childhood module. If you prefer to stay in print, there's going to be a 15% discount on all our Frolic resources, which are intended for early childhood. And for those who want Bibles, story Bibles, free shipping. Free shipping is a big deal. We usually only have free shipping in August as we prepare for Faith Formation season, but we're offering the ELEA members free shipping on Bibles any time of the year. So there'll be more about the discounts and the promo codes concerning these offers in the future, so look out for them. But I just wanted you to be aware. I'm seeing a question. I'm jumping back to the questions. Does it come with Bible verses to use? Is there, if you're referring to, is a Bible embedded in Sparkhouse Digital? No, Sparkhouse Digital does not have a Bible. But of course, the lectionary lessons are keyed in to the the rolling set of lessons in the Revised Common Lectionary. So they'll always have like a Bible lesson focus for each of the lessons and messages and what have you. I don't know if that answered the question or not, but there is not a Bible in Sparkhouse Digital that you can display passages. All right. All right. Well, I really appreciate your time with us today. And Corey, I'm sorry we couldn't interact with each other a little bit more effectively here. I've been clicking on my camera like mad, and it just says my camera's not available. And if you have any final words to say, or please say them, because I guess they can hear you.
Yes, I just wanted to jump in really quick and say thank you to David and for our partnership with Augsburg. I think this is a really great partnership. We are setting up a slide that will be available in the member section in community of our website. But if you need those codes really soon, you want to start making those purchases, please just send me an email and I will get them to you. And otherwise, thank you all for being on this webinar today, and we really appreciate everything you do in your congregations and your schools. Thank you, David.